On 13 June 2025, Israel launched an operation called the Rising Lion. In this operation, Israel bombarded Iran's South Pars gas field, which is the world's largest gas reservoir. This particular war has the potential to disrupt the global crude oil and gas sector. And this also presents an opportunity to boost India's compressed biogas sector. You heard me right. This particular war can be a big opportunity for the Indian biofuel industry and specifically the compressed biogas sector. Before I start telling you about that, how this particular war can actually benefit India's biofuel industry, let's first quickly understand about Iran. Iran has the world's third largest crude oil reserve. That is approximately 12% of the global crude reserve. The second interesting fact about Iran is that Iran has the world's second largest natural gas reserves, just after Russia. That is approximately 16% of the global natural gas reserves. South Pars gas field in Iran accounts for 40% of the reserves of natural gas in Iran, making it the single biggest location holding a natural gas reserve in the entire world. Not just this, Iran also has one important superpower which the world is scared of, and that is Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is a narrow passage that accounts for 20% of the world's crude oil and gas channeling. That means 20% of the world's global crude oil and gas transfers from this particular narrow patch known as Strait of Hormuz. And Iran can actually disrupt Strait of Hormuz. And this particular disruption can cause shock waves around the global crude oil and gas sector. Now, we need to understand that Iran and India's energy relationship used to be very, very good. For instance, India bought crude oil and gas worth 27,500 crores in the financial year 15-16, 34,900 crores in the financial year 16-17, 71,600 crores in financial year 17-18, and 86,000 crores in financial year 18-19. India tripled its oil and gas purchase from Iran in 4 years until something happened in the financial year 19-20. The Indian crude oil and gas purchase, which was over 86,000 crores in the financial year 18-19, dropped by almost 90% to 9,600 crores in the financial year 19-20. So what exactly happened that when India was getting so cozy with Iran's crude oil and gas, suddenly it stopped buying Iranians' crude oil and gas? The answer to that question is US sanctions. US put sanctions on Iran in year 2018, and the effect was witnessed not just by India but the entire world. Now you must be thinking that why in this world India had to stop buying Iran's crude oil and gas if US put sanctions on Iran? Well, the answer to that question is not very simple. On 8th May 2018, USA withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal. They accused Iran of funding terrorism, pursuing missiles, funding militias, and because of which USA felt really uncomfortable. President Trump swiftly reinstated all the sanctions on Iranian oil so that they could choke Iran's oil and gas revenues. After which, India received a 6-month deadline to cut Iran's crude oil and gas purchase to net zero. Yes, that was a deadline that USA gave to India, and if India failed to do so, India could also face secondary sanctions. Now, to protect their relationship with the US, India decided to stop buying crude oil and gas from Iran. That is why the transaction of crude oil and gas that was 86,000 crores in the financial year 18-19 dropped by 90% in the financial year 19-20, because India wanted to protect its relationship with the US first. And because of these geopolitical tensions, India actually failed to an extent to protect its oil and gas security. Now, This triggered the Indian government to rethink about its energy security, because every time they are dependent on some other nations for its energy needs and something happens in the geopolitical arena, India may be face the consequences of that. That is why India thought of rethinking its relationship with the energy. And that's how India started focusing on the biofuel sector. These geopolitical tensions gave birth to the National Biofuel Policy 2018 on 4th June 2018, approximately 1 month after USA put sanctions on Iran. Yes, the National Biofuel Policy 2018 emphasized extensively on the use of ethanol. So, ethanol blending program was a program in which Indian government decided that petrol will be blended with ethanol, which is a biofuel. So the Indian government started with 5% blending target. Since its launch in year 2018, the ethanol blending program has been so successful that it has helped Indian government save over 1.2 lakh crores to flowing outside the country. Yes, that is the amount of biofuel that we as a country were able to produce inside our country. Government started with a 5% ethanol blending target. And in 2025, we talk about a 20% ethanol blending. That's a huge success for the Indian biofuel sector. In 2018, September, government also launched a scheme called as Satat scheme, in which they wanted to set up 5,000 CBG plants. However, the real interest in CBG started to come only in year 2021, when the government issued a notification that CNG will be blended with CBG. Exactly. So what exactly happened in the ethanol space that was being mixed with petrol? In 2021, government announced that the CNG will be blended with CBG, which is the compressed biogas. And in year 2025, finally the city gas distribution companies, the gas companies, got an official mandate from Government of India that they have to procure compressed biogas from the CBG project developers no matter what, because government is talking about a 5% blending target of CBG with CNG. Please note, before year 2025, CBG CNG blending was voluntary. However, in 2025 onwards, it became mandatory. That is why from year 2025 to year 2030 is an extremely crucial time for the Indian compressed biogas sector. In fact, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is so bullish that they have launched a subsidy worth 10 crores that they will be giving to the project developers, whoever is planning to venture into the compressed biogas space. Now, what makes compressed biogas sector so unique? So when we talked about the bioethanol sector, it required an initial investment of hundreds of crores as an initial capex. However, when we are talking about the compressed biogas sector, the projects can start from as low as 3 crore onwards. That means that if you have a liquid capital between 3 to 70 crores, you can enter into this space. This is what makes compressed biogas sector extremely lucrative for even micro project developers. So if you are someone who has the investment capability between 3 to 70 crores, you can actually think of getting into the compressed biogas sector, because this is the sector that is bound to grow exponentially between the year 2025 and 2030. We have already witnessed that government is extremely bullish when it comes to boosting the Indian biofuel sector, because the government wants to protect itself from the outside influence of the geopolitical tensions. So if we are not self-sufficient when it comes to our energy needs, we will always be at the mercy of other bigger nations who can choke us whenever they want. That is why Government of India has understood it, that if we want to really boost our economy and secure our energy needs, we have to produce our own energy. That is why if you plan to be a part of the compressed biogas sector, you will not just be earning a lot of money, but you will also be a strong pillar in protecting India's energy needs. The Indian biofuel story is not just about profit, it is also about national security. So if you are someone who is extremely interested to be a part of this, we are organizing a group call for the potential CBG project developers who are keen on understanding this sector. click on the link below or on your screen, and I will see you in that group call. Like I said, that entering into the biofuel project is about planet, people, profits. So if you think that you want to be a part of this revolutionary industry, hop on the group call and I will see you there.